Oh, of course. Kieran's here, Craig's here, can only mean one thing. FA Cup final coming up this weekend, Crystal Palace against Manchester City. These are the odds. We're not going to get your predictions because obviously the two of you are both going to be on the coverage for it, but we do want to hear from both coaches, Pep Guardiola and Oliver Glasner.
Definitely it's much better winning than losing, but learn for the losing is last season was special because 3 or 4 days or 5 days before we won the Premier League, the 4 in a row, and maybe our mindset was not incredible perfect, but the game was not, we didn't create much, but it was not bad plays, some decisions was against, and yeah, we lost it. It's final, it happened. Important we were there, and again, 1 more year later, we are there again.
Positive team news, everybody is fit. Adam trained the whole week and is available, and all others as well. So, yeah, some tough decisions to take, but good decisions to take.
Well, here is the tale of the tape between these two sides. Crystal Palace have never won major silverware in their 120-year history. As for Manchester City, they are going for an 8th FA Cup win. Not so straightforward, though, when you look at it. Crystal Palace against Manchester City. You can't say for sure it's just going to be Manchester City here, Craig.
They won the playoff championship final. Does that not count? Back in the day when my old mate Davy Hopkin whipped it in the top corner for Palace. I suppose that doesn't really count. One manager's not done a great job this year, and one manager's done a tremendous job. And it's Oliver Glasner. He has been amazing, and I've always felt he's been a really good manager. And when you saw them at the start of the season, they were struggling. Yep. They lost. They lost the centre half, Anderson, I think, as his name is, to Fulham. They were very, very close to selling Mark Gay to Newcastle, deadline day. And I think had that happened, Glasner may have walked. He may have walked and said, listen, you're just pulling the rug from under me here. They had a bad start, but they regrouped. They had this period during the second half of the season away from home where they were defensively the best team in the division. And again, they had an identity, something we've talked about today, about the way they play, and it might not be. And we were talking about it after their FA Cup quarter-final win, I think it was, at Fulham, with Stevie, saying they're quite happy not to say, hey, modern game, fine, you want to play it, but we're not taking chances at the back. We're not rolling it out to a centre-half who's under pressure. If we need to kick it up the field and squeeze up, and Jean-Pierre Mateta fights for it, and Eze picks it, and Sarr pick up the second ball because they're good players, we'll do that. And they've not been frightened to do that. It's not to say they don't play football, but they have played in a manner which has been not high risk. The question is, are they going to have enough ball in this game, quality ball, to be able to play those balls in behind to Mateta or get it into Eze's feet, who's a match winner? And Eze's a match winner. He's a terrific player. But he's not alone. You know, you get Adam Wharton in the midfield, youngster, whether he plays or not, I don't know. Terrific player, was in the England squad for the Euros. They're big and solid at the back. They play a back three. So they've got a real chance. And let's not forget the game at the Etihad. I think there were, somebody can correct me here, they were 2-0 up or 3-0 up, I can't remember, not too long ago, and could easily have been 4-0 up in the first half. 2-0. But could easily have been 3 or 4. I think it was an offside goal, ruled, or whatever it was, until City got back into it with a great performance from Kevin De Bruyne. But that game could have been dead and buried because they caught City on the hop. So I don't know if that plays into their psyche in terms of, hey, do you remember what we did to them at the Etihad? And we really should have killed them off. So I don't know if that will give them confidence or not going into this Wembley game.
I think Crystal Palace are the worst type of team that Man City can face in their current state. I think the balance of their team, the way they have they have a strong midfield, 2 centre halves, and they're dynamic on the wings. And City this season, they've played quite narrow, and I just think that the offensive qualities of Palace in Sarr, Eze, Mateta, they can cause City some problems. Now, I think people kind of get a little bit carried away with Palace and forget that City also have their qualities. But I just think the way they have handled this FA Cup, That semi-final against Aston Villa, they really just dismantled Aston Villa, and they just look like a team that they don't run off of emotion. They have a high IQ. They stick to what they're good at. They don't beat around the bush. They're organised, and they pick their moments. And as soon as they get an opportunity, they're always effective with it. They won't waste an opportunity. They're not wasteful. And so that's why I think that this could be an interesting final.
It's great to see Mateta back playing. You know, for those that watch, you see him wear this big sort of protective whatever it is on his ear after that collision in the FA Cup against Millwall. Was it Millwall with the keeper? It was a disgusting challenge, really. And people at home might think, no, we see people wearing masks and blah, blah, blah all the time. And you're a footballer, get on with it. I was talking to John Champion about this when we were doing one of the games. I don't think people realise how bad this was and how much it took for him to come back. The plastic surgeon who operated on him, his ear wasn't cut at all. It was basically ripped off, hanging by a thread. It was so bad. This injury was so bad, and I think when we saw Steve Parish, the chief executive at the end of the game, Crystal Palace chief executive, giving an interview, he had rage in his voice after that injury. He just had rage. And the injury was so bad that the surgeon, during the operation, took pictures for operative purposes. And at the end of it, he told Mateta, I'm not going to show you the pictures because it was quite horrific.
Wow.
And so when you think about how much work had to be done to that player to patch that up, and then a few weeks later, whatever it is, he's back playing. And I know he's got the thing on it, but it doesn't matter. You know, mentally, you're still thinking about it. So I just think stories like that are great, but the extent of that injury was a way, way worse than what I think people imagine it was.
And when you speak of great stories, what a great story it would be, Frank, for Crystal Palace to win this. How great a story would it be for Man City, considering the season they've had? How would they view it?
Well, that's my concern about Crystal Palace. I don't forget that they play Manchester City in a final of an FA Cup, and those guys, the citizens, they know what they're talking about, and they know how to prepare that, and the odds are for them. They are confident about what they should do, and it's a final. You can say anything, you can prepare anything, you try to anticipate whatever you want, but at the day of the game, you know, something happens and you're going to win or you're going to lose. Crystal Palace can do the job, but the citizens are ready. And they want to win something. They want to get into Champions League next season, finishing in the top 5 for sure. But they want to win something. And Guardiola is going to make sure those players, they're going to be ready on the D-Day. And that's the concept that I have about Crystal Palace. I don't think it's going to be a magical day for them because they face Manchester City. Even if they have a chance, because it's 11 against 11, it's man against man. It's possible, but the odds are too big for me, for them, in order for them to win. That's why I'm afraid of for Crystal Palace.
But remember, it is a final and anything can happen. These guys will be covering that final for you. Crystal Palace against Manchester City, the FA Cup final, Saturday, 11:30 Eastern, but it is a full 1 hour build-up. Our coverage will begin at 10:30 right here on ESPN+.